Have you ever wondered if a beloved, long-running franchise could truly reinvent itself while, still feeling like itself? Or maybe, what if a game you loved as a kid suddenly gave you that experience you'd only dreamed was possible? Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into the recent review of Pokémon Legends Z-A, especially looking at it on the new Nintendo Switch 2. Our mission, really, is to unpack why this game's being called a statement for Pokemon. Like this mix of pushing boundaries, but also hitting that nostalgia sweet spot. And this is all for you, drawing out the key bits, the really fascinating details, from a pretty thorough review of the game. Think of it less like just a review rundown and more an exploration. How does a huge series like this actually evolve? How does new tech change things? And how do they take a familiar place and make it feel brand new?
It really feels like a significant moment, doesn't it? The review frames Z-A as, well, not just another game. It's a definite shift, especially for a series that, let's be honest, has often been called out for sticking pretty closely to its formula, almost rigidly sometimes. It feels like they're finally saying, okay, here's what Pokemon can be, raising the bar.
Okay, let's dive right into that. The review kicks off saying, Pokémon Legends. Z-A feels like the series has, and I quote, finally broken away from the rigid mold that had defined it for decades. And it's not just a small tweak, it's a doubling down on the kind of boldness we first saw with Arceus. So what's the big deal here? What makes this shift feel so monumental?
Well, Arceus was definitely the first big step, right? Took us out into that huge open wilderness, changed how we caught Pokemon, how we explored. Big departure. But Z-A, it takes that same innovative spirit, that willingness to change things up, and applies it to something completely different, but also iconic. Lumiose City from X and Y.
Ah, okay. So not just another open wilderness, but swapping plains for skyscrapers.
Yeah.
A totally urban environment.
Exactly. And that's where it gets really interesting. Lumiose City isn't just a backdrop. The review says it's reimagined in astonishing detail. It's teeming with life, packed with chances to explore. It stresses this urban vibrancy, which is such a contrast to the wilds of Arceus, and makes it feel like a Pokemon world that genuinely lives and breathes around you.
Instead of just being scenery you walk past.
Precisely. And the NPCs, the non-player characters, they're apparently much more dynamic. It helps sell that feeling of a living city, not just, static shopkeepers.
Wow. Taking somewhere familiar and making it feel completely new and alive. That's clever. So for you, the listener, this really sets up a totally fresh kind of adventure, even if you played X and Y back in the day. It signals a real change in how they're thinking about designing these worlds.
Okay, and here's something that really caught my eye. The story. The review claims the story in Z-A is more compelling than most mainline titles. It goes beyond the usual collect badges, become champion loop. What kind of themes are making it feel deeper this time around? Yeah, this is a really important point. The narrative apparently digs into some pretty hefty themes. Things like urban growth, human ambition, and how the Pokemon fit into this evolving city. It specifically mentions weaving in the tension between technological expansion and natural harmony. So it's not just your journey, it's about the city itself and the consequences of its growth.
That sounds surprisingly mature for Pokemon. A welcome change, I think many would say.
Absolutely. The review calls it surprisingly thoughtful. And crucially, it apparently never feels heavy-handed, which is key, right? But it does give your actions a sense of weight. So what you do matters, it seems. It feeds into these larger themes about progress and its impact.
So connecting that to the bigger picture, it sounds like the game wants you to think a bit more about progress, about your role in this living, changing place. For you, that means potentially a much deeper sense of immersion, right? A purpose beyond just filling the Pokedex. All right, let's switch gears to how it actually plays. The review says, Z-A builds on the mechanics of Arceus, but refines them significantly. Can you break down some of those refinements? What new stuff adds to it?
Sure. So the core catching is still there.
Mm-hmm.
Sneaking, watching Pokemon, throwing Pokeballs in real time. That's familiar from Arceus.
Mm-hmm.
But the refinement comes in the AI. The review says the Pokemon AI feels sharper and more reactive.
Sharper how? Like they're harder to catch.
Not just harder, but smarter, maybe?
Yeah.
Gives examples like some Pokemon will stalk you if provoked. Others might just bolt at the first sign of trouble. It makes encounters feel less staged, maybe.
Yeah.
More dynamic.
Gotcha. So you really have to pay attention to the Pokemon's behavior, not just your aim. That actually sounds way more engaging. Less like a simple task, more like a actual observation strategy.
Exactly. And battles have changed too. It's described as hybrid approach. You still get the traditional turn-based combat if you want it, but crucially, the review says encounters flow more seamlessly into the overworld. less jarring transitions, perhaps.
Oh, that's interesting. So not always that separate battle screen cutting in.
Seems like it. Plus, there's a whole new mechanic called momentum moves.
Momentum moves. What are those?
They apparently let you chain actions together at the cost of stamina. Adds a welcome layer of strategy to the fights. So it's not just picking the best type matchup, but managing stamina, planning ahead, being more tactical.
Okay, wow. So they're blending the familiar with some genuinely new strategic layers. For you playing it, this means the world isn't just looking better, it's actually more reactive, more demanding strategically.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting for Pokemon, isn't it? It asks more of you. Okay, now, the big one, the new hardware. The review is very clear. A big talking point is performance on the Nintendo Switch 2. So what are we actually seeing here? How big a difference does it make?
Oh, it sounds like a massive difference. A total game changer, according to the review. It says flat out that Z-A looks and runs leagues ahead of its predecessors.
Leagues ahead. Okay, that's strong language. Compared to, say, Scarlet and Violet.
Exactly. It specifically says, gone are the muddy textures and frame drops that plagued Scarlet and Violet. Remember how rough those could look sometimes?
Oh, I remember. Yeah. The pop-in, the stuttering.
Well, that seems to be largely gone. The city is described as richly detailed. Things like neon signs glowing at night and rain-soaked streets reflecting your surroundings. Real atmosphere.
Okay, that sounds like the visual leap people were hoping for, finally delivering on the potential of these worlds. No more Pokemon suddenly appearing 2 feet in front of you.
Hopefully not. It mentions polished Pokemon models, smoother animations, and vastly improved draw distances. That's a big one. And the review highlights this specific aha moment. For once, you can look across the skyline and actually see where you'll be heading without the illusion breaking.
Wow. That right there tells you a lot. You can actually see the city, the whole scope of it.
Exactly. It's not just about looking pretty. It's about making the world feel solid, believable, truly immersive.
That's such a powerful point without the illusion breaking. For you, the player, that technical upgrade isn't just eye candy. It stops those little things that pull you out of the experience. It means the creative vision isn't held back by the tech anymore, makes the fantasy feel more real. And it sounds like it's not just about the power of the Switch 2, but how they're using it for exploration, too. The review mentions Game Freak embraced verticality. What does that actually mean in the game?
Yeah, this sounds like another huge shift in how you explore. Lumiose City isn't just flat streets anymore. The review says you can now scale rooftops, glide between districts, and even descend into underground tunnels. It's adding whole new layers to the environment.
Whoa, okay, so you're climbing buildings, gliding around, like a Pokemon Spider-Man.
Sort of. Huh. Maybe not quite Spider-Man, but definitely a lot more freedom of movement. This layered design encourages exploration in ways Pokemon games rarely have before. It's not just about going forward, it's about going up, down, finding hidden paths.
So the city itself becomes like a giant puzzle box to explore, a real urban jungle.
Pretty much. It actively rewards you for being curious. The review calls Lumiose a true playground, where poking around nets you hidden items, rare Pokemon, and side quests.
Oh.
It sounds like every alley, every rooftop could hide something interesting, makes you want to explore every inch.
That sounds amazing. It transforms the city from just a setting into, like you said, a playground. For you, that translates to constant discovery, right? That feeling that there's always something cool just around the corner, encouraging you to really dive deep into the city. Okay, but look, no game is absolutely perfect. The review does offer a balanced view, right? It mentions a few spots where Z-A isn't flawless. What were some of those minor quibbles?
Right, it's important to cover those too, give the full picture. While it's overwhelmingly positive, the review did flag a few things. For instance, some quests apparently fall into repetitive fetch task territory. You know the type. Go here, get this, bring it back.
Ah, the classic RPG filler quest.
Yep. Also, the difficulty curve is mentioned as feeling inconsistent. Some encounters might suddenly spike, which could be a bit jarring, especially if you're just exploring.
Okay. Anything else? What about the story's flow?
There are apparently moments when the pacing dips. Specifically, particularly in the mid-game where story progression slows in favor of side content.
Right, so if you're really into the main plot, you might feel a bit stalled while the game encourages you to do other stuff.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
And one last little thing. Despite the overall smooth performance on the Switch 2, there were still occasional camera hiccups in tighter spaces. Minor, but still there.
Okay, so fetch quests, uneven difficulty sometimes, a mid-game pacing dip, and the odd camera issue. Sounds like fairly standard minor complaints for a big open world game, maybe. But, for someone really invested, say, in the story, could that pacing dip be a genuine frustration? Or does the rest of the game make up for it? It helps you, the listener, know what to maybe expect.
The overall tone of the review suggests there are definitely minor issues in the grand scheme of things. The improvements elsewhere seem to really overshadow these points. But yeah, good to be aware of them.
Okay, so bringing it all together then, the overall experience. The review calls the overall package immensely satisfying. Beyond the graphics and the gameplay loops, what else pulls it all together? What's the final feeling?
Well, the soundtrack gets a specific shout-out as another standout.
Oh, nice. Music's so important in Pokemon.
Definitely. It apparently blends familiar Kalos themes, which fans will love, with new cinematic arrangements. These elevate both the exploration and the battles. It's not just background music, it's part of the atmosphere, really drawing you in.
So it enhances that sense of wonder, the scale of it all, makes it feel more epic.
Absolutely. And the review sums up that feeling with some really powerful imagery. It says, when you're sprinting through the city at night with the scores swelling around you, it feels like Pokemon has finally caught up with the sense of wonder fans have always imagined.
Wow. Caught up with the sense of wonder fans have always imagined. That's quite the statement.
Isn't it? It really captures that idea of the game finally delivering on the promise, the feeling that people have carried with them for years about Pokemon.
Yeah, that perfectly sums up why this deep dive feels so compelling. It's not just technically impressive, it's hitting that emotional core. A full experience that pulls you in. Sounds like a game that really stays with you. So let's wrap up this deep dive. Pokémon Legends. Z-A sounds like it's genuinely more than just a sequel, it's a statement. Proof that the series can evolve pretty dramatically, actually, without losing its heart. It offers this great blend of nostalgia and real innovation. The review seems convinced that whether you're a hardcore fan or someone who maybe drifted away, Z-A is the kind of adventure that pulls you back in. Reminds you why Pokemon has stuck around for so long.
Yeah, the final verdict seems pretty clear.
Yeah.
A bold and captivating step forward for this series, and easily one of the best Pokemon games in years.
It really feels like it's hitting that sweet spot, fresh but familiar, using the new tech to deliver something ambitious. So, thinking about all this, what does it mean for you? As you consider how Z-A is changing up exploration and story in this iconic world, maybe think about this. What parts of your favorite long-running series, could be games, books, movies, whatever, would you be most excited to see reimagined? And maybe more importantly, what parts absolutely have to stay the same to keep its soul? That's a tricky balance, isn't it?
It really is. It makes you think about how tech and new ideas can reshape these worlds we love, push them forward, hopefully without losing what made them special in the first place, honoring the legacy while exploring new frontiers.
Definitely something to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you'll think about the possibilities for your own beloved stories and worlds.